all need trunk rotation. It's so important for breaking up tone in the back or trying to improve a little bit of achiness through the vertebrae. So I wanted to go through some of the more accessible trunk rotation exercises, even though there are so many out there. So we're going to start off lying on our backs. We're going to have a heavier spring weight, so about 2.5 springs, or 2 heavy and 1 medium. Although if you'd like, you can go up to 3 heavy springs, depending on your strength or depending on what you're going for. This first one is called slalom. I have to give credit to Pilates Process, the studio in Toronto, for showing me this exercise. We're going to start with the legs over to one side. We're going to press out long, switch at the top to the other side, so rotating and then folding back in. So it's extend, turn, and fold. So extend, press out, turn the legs over, and fold. So that's kind of like a prep. But what I've found is that sometimes the clients need a little bit more range of motion, and so if that's the case, I like to have them go into a hip lift and do this. So bringing the bum up, we're gonna start with the legs over to one side, getting that nice twist, and then coming back in. And so that way, we're actually getting a little bit of activity, but with simultaneous release through those paraspinals. So there's some core energy, but there's also a little bit of range required, right? So they can't lock up when you're doing the exercise because they have to turn. Okay, so coming back in, let the bum back down. Moving on, we're gonna go into back rowing. So on our knees, we're going to change the spring settings to about half a spring, or even a quarter spring if you like. It's actually quite nice on a light spring or one medium spring, depending on what you're going for. We're going to be up tall, knees right against the shoulder rests, grabbing that opposite rope. So I'm using my right arm, but I'm using the left rope here. Hand is through the strap, grabbing that there. And this is called one arm twist. So it's part of the classical repertoire. And you can see that you can sort of move through as much rotation as you'd like. We're maintaining that nice vertical axis all the way from the head, all the way down to the tailbone, keeping that core nice and strong. It can be really unstable, especially at a light spring, so just be careful of that. We're gonna allow the pelvis to turn if you'd like, or if you wanna keep the pelvis facing forward, that's fine as well. Just depends on where you want that rotation to happen. Okay, so last one. We're gonna go into rotation in mermaid. So switching the springs to 3/4 springs or 1 heavy spring. Let's see. I'm gonna go with 3/4. We're gonna have this nice seated position, shin bone right against the shoulder rests. Front leg is sort of out front here. So some internal rotation on this side and some external rotation on this side. And this is gonna help anchor that pelvis. If you have someone that has limited rotation or limited range of motion, you can either drop this leg over the front, or you can add the platform extender under the bum to kind of lift them up so they're not quite so deep into that hip. So I've got this one hand on the front of the foot bar, other hand is here. We're gonna reach over into a nice side bend, and then here comes the rotation. So we're gonna bring those hands wide on the bar, facing the floor, fold it in a few times here. So 3 presses, like that, and then back to that side bend, and then coming back up. So you can imagine if I were to have this front leg up here, when I go through that rotation, it's going to be even deeper across this right side of my back here. A lot more work through the hips as well. Okay, so I can appreciate that the mermaid is a little bit tricky, so if you want to, you can also do it with the feet hanging off the sides, especially if someone has hip mobility issues.